Hey, what's up? What's going on, gang? Here with my recap and my analysis on the Eagles vs Giants game last night. Black Sunday, crushed them. First shutout we ever had. First shutout we had in 18 years. 27-0. Sent the Giants home with a donut. So and first let me say happy birthday, happy 32nd birthday to our right guard Ty Harriman. And happy 41st birthday to greatest Eagles safety of all time, Brian Dawkins. And shout out to them. Happy birthday. Hope y'all enjoy it. It's always good doing these videos after we win a game, man. I feel good, man. I mean, it was a lot of trash talk. You know, the Giants was talking mad. All this, the division, the Eagles, whatever. And we crushed them. And I told everybody, do not sleep on our defense. Our defense is the damn truth. And to hold the Giants, a team that came into this week hot, like 100 plus points in the last 3 games altogether, and we shut them up. Nothing. You know, we had 8 sacks yesterday, I think. Connor Barwin had 3. Connor Barwin been on fire. Vinny Curry been on fire. Trent Cole did his thing. Brandon Graham, they do their thing. You know what I mean? Our defense is nice, man. And people need to stop sleeping on them. Shut down their receivers. Shout out to Victor Cruz too, man. I know a lot of fans caught backlash for cheering while he was hurt and everything, but I want to send the prayers to Cruz. Hope he get better. You know what I mean? Injury's not funny. I don't joke about him. You know what I'm saying? As you can see, we got lucky. We thought Sproles hurt his knee bad, but it turned out to be an MCL sprain, so he'll be out for 2 weeks. Luckily, we got the bye week coming up. But let me get into the statistics like I always do. Okay, Okay, final score 27-0 Eagles. Far as the team stats go, we had 24 first downs. Giants had 12. We ran 71 total plays. Giants ran 59. Total yards 451 for us. 296 yards for the Giants. 211 yards passing for the Giants. 248 yards passing for us. Rushing yards. Shady. The offensive line. A lot of people have been talking about the offensive line lately. You know they not. The offensive line did they damn thing yesterday. Shout out to them. We had 203 yards on the ground last night. Shady finally broke a 100-yard rushing game. You know what I mean? He did his thing. Darren Sproles did his thing. We held the Giants 85 yards rushing. 85 yards rushing. So our rushing defense was on point. Our passing defense was on point. Our defense total, we just dominated them last night. Like, it was Black Sunday, and we put the nail in their coffin last night. As far as penalties, we had 3 penalties, 25 yards. The Giants had 10 penalties, 74 yards. Time of possession. This is one thing I always talk about. Y'all know I always talk about. It matters. It might not matter to Chip. He might say that, but it matters. And last night we won the time of possession battle. We had the ball 32 minutes, 26 seconds. The Giants had the ball 27 minutes, 34 seconds. Of course, we had 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions by Foles. And the Giants had 1 turnover. As far as passing, Eli Manning 13 for 23, 151 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Ryan Nassib, the backup, came in, went 4 for 5 for 60 yards. Nick Foles 21 for 34, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. As far as rushing go, Andre Williams 16 rushing attempts, 58 yards, 3.6 yards a carry. Peyton Hillis 5 rushing attempts, 24 yards. Eli Manning 2 rushes for 3 yards, no touchdown. Shady McCoy 22 rushes, 149 yards. His longest run was 28 yards. He didn't get a rushing touchdown, but he did his thing last night. Darren Sproles was 7 for 39 yards, 1 touchdown. Trey Burton, 5 rushes for 10 yards. Nick Foles, 2 rushes for 5 yards. As far as the receivers go, we pretty much kept them in check. None of them had a touchdown. A couple long passes or whatever, but for the most part, our secondary did their thing yesterday. Ruben Randall had 5 catches for 58 yards. Daniel Fells, backup tight end, 2 catches for 40 yards. Adrian Robinson had 1 catch for 29 yards. Peyton Hillis, 3 catches for 28 yards. Odell Beckham Jr., all of the hype coming into this week, he was held to 2 catches for 28 yards. Shutout. No touchdown. Victor Cruz, of course, he went down with the injury to his knee. Torn patella tendon in his knee. He was 2 for 16 prior to that. Preston Parker, 1 reception for 6 yards. Larry Donald, another guy, came into this matchup on a hot streak. A lot of blabbering and everything about how good he is and everything. 1 catch, 6 yards. Riley Cooper led our team with catches. 5 receptions for 59 yards. Jordan Matthews, 4 receptions for 50 yards. Zach Ertz, 3 receptions for 47 yards, 1 touchdown. Brent Selleck, 4 receptions for 45 yards. James Casey, of course, he had the big catch, big 26-yard touchdown catch. That was his only reception, but it worked for us. Macklin was quiet, 2 receptions for 16 yards. And Shady McCoy had 2 receptions for 5 yards. As far as the Giants' defense, they 63 tackles altogether. They were led by Quentin Demps, who had 10 tackles, 1 for a loss. Where's the big names? Kiwanuka had 4 tackles. Pierre Paul had 4 tackles. Most importantly, neither one of them had a sack. Jamil McClain, 4 tackles. The only sack came DeMontre Moore on Foles. So they had 1 sack last night. They did, however, have 2 interceptions, and one was Zach Bowman, the other was Antrell Rolle, the guy who started the nonsense. He did get an interception. Okay, the Eagles, we had 58 tackles, 10 tackles for loss. That's a pretty good stat. Of course, it adds to the fact that we dominated the Giants' offense. Connor Barwin, been doing his thing. 3 sacks yesterday, 2 tackles for loss. Casey Matthews, 2 tackles for a loss last night, 5 tackles altogether. Nate Allen led our team with tackles with 6. Brandon Graham had a sack. Trent Cole had a sack. Brandon Barrett had a sack. Vinny Curry, that's my guy. Vinny Curry had 2 sacks last night too. Another guy that's been doing this thing. And that pretty much sums that up. As far as punts, we had the Giants punt 10 times yesterday. Steve Weatherford averaged 47.7 on every punt, he for 477 yards. Cody Parkey, 2 for 2 on both his field goal attempts. Made all his extra points. Donnie Jones, 6 punts, 273 yards, 45.5 on average. He had 5 punts down inside the 20. As far as returns go, Odell Beckham Jr. had 1 return for -1 yard. Michael Cox had 2 kick returns, 26.5 yards on average. Darren Sproles had 4 punt returns, 14.3 on average. And Josh Huff didn't get a kick return yesterday because, of course, the only one they kicked was the kickoff. They didn't score any points to kick the ball off to us again, but I guess that's a pretty good stat. Okay, now on to this game. Okay, first off, let me start off by saying it was a great game all around. Like, the offense was clicking. Aside from the 2 interceptions Foles threw, the offense was pretty much clicking. The defense was dominant. Special teams didn't really. They for the most part, they've been solid all season. they didn't really get their opportunities yesterday to block any punt, even though he punted 10 times. That was a pretty damn good game. As far as Chip Kelly, it was a pretty good coach game. It's pretty well coached game. It's not really much I can say about the offense besides the fact that, you know, this has been the first game that we actually dominated, that we actually won. The first shutout in 18 years is nothing to sneeze at. But for the most part, the offense, they weren't like dominant or explosive or anything like that. They were pretty just well balanced offense. I think the offense and the defense was pretty much in sync with each other based on like the times they were on the field. But if you talk about this game, you got to talk about the defense. Like, I mean, Connor Barton's been on fire. Brandon Graham and Vinny Curry, they're both star caliber players. They just play behind guys that are so good that they don't start. But for the most part, they play like they're starters. For us to hold the Giants to less than 100 yards rushing after what happened against the 49ers and everything, like I told you, man, this defense is not as bad as people make it out to be. Just because, like, you know, they allowed the comeback against the Rams. A lot of people was bashing them, saying this, saying that. But when you play a well-balanced game like we did last night, the defense from the gate just came out dominating the Giants. They sacked Eli Manning. Well, they didn't sack Eli 8 times, but they had 8 sacks against the Giants, and that's been my mentality all along. Like, I watched this defense play, and I always say, if the offense was as balanced as on the field as much as the defense and is balanced out like that, and time of possession matters. I don't care what Chip Kelly says. We won that game yesterday. It was a complete shutout, but time of possession always mattered to me. I'm sure it matters to a lot of people. And it was pretty much the way our team, pretty much the way we viewed our team from the gate, like how we're supposed to play. And I talk to a lot of people. I got a bunch of friends that's Dallas fans. I got a family that's Giants fans. And, you know, they talk a lot of trash and they say, you know, y'all offense and this, that, and the third. And I tell everybody, when that offense gets it together, everybody's going to be in trouble because our defense is not as bad as people make it out to be. And last night was proof of that. We dressed for a funeral and we buried the Giants. Like, and it was just a pretty good game, man. Like, it's not really much of an analysis you can put on it besides the fact that our defense just dominated that game. Now we're going into the bye week. As I said earlier, Sproles has an MCL sprain, and they say he's going to be out 1 to 2 weeks. Hopefully, he'll be back for the Arizona game, but for his long-term health, I wouldn't risk bringing him back unless he was 100% ready. I don't know where we stand with Michael Kendricks, but I'm hoping that this bye week, this next 2 weeks, gives him more than enough time to get back. But even if you look at the backups, like Casey Matthews and Emmanuel Acho, they've been playing pretty good, considering the fact that nobody really gave them a chance as backups when Kendricks went down. Like, and they've been playing pretty good. Like, those guys, man, they really stepped in and filled that void that we thought was going to be very big when we lost Kendricks. So big shouts out to them doing their thing, Casey Matthews and Emmanuel Acho. D'Amico Ryans, of course, he was a game time decision. He came in and he played pretty good. Jason Peters, man. What more can I say about him? He was playing so good they had to move Jason Pierre-Paul to the other side to go up against Lane Johnson because he couldn't get anything against Peters. And Connor Barwin, man. I always looked at Connor Barwin as more of a coverage guy, like, but I guess he could be quite the pass rusher too, and he's been proving that for the past 2 or 3 weeks. But what more can I say about this defense, man? I mean, if we can get this defense and this offense in sync like they were last night against the division rival, because when the Cowboys won, I'm pretty sure that they thought that they was going to go one up on us in the division for the simple fact that we had to play the Giants, and considering how hot the Giants was when they came to play us. But we still tied in the division. I mean, we own a tiebreaker because we got a better division record, but for the most part, this Arizona game, we got 2 weeks to prepare for them, and if we could play like we played last night, we got a pretty good shot. I'm just hoping that this defense finally, I'm just hoping that everybody lays off of this defense now, because I've been saying it for the longest time. It's not our defense. It's offense and defense coordination. Like, you gotta be, you gotta be in cahoots with each other. You gotta balance out that time on the field between the two. And we pretty much dominated last night, man. And that was a pretty good game. It ain't really much of a bad part of this analysis that I can give, aside from the Foles and his 2 interceptions. But they could have changed the dynamics of the game, but they didn't, because the defense was so on fire. And Victor Cruz was wide open on that pass that he dropped. He just dropped it, but of course he hurt his knee. But those interceptions could have changed the dynamics of the game, but they didn't. And I guess that's pretty good stat for our as far as defense is concerned. But for the most part, Foles played a pretty good game too. So I mean, as far as those interceptions go, I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, we won the game. Now we 5-1, so we can just enjoy being 5-1. Of course, we got to deal with the bye week. I don't like the bye week because I don't get to see my team play, and I know y'all feel the same way. But for the most part, that was a pretty good game. I mean, from all angles, from the coaching to the play execution to the defensive dominance, it was a great game. And the last time the Eagles had a shutout, I was 12 years old, so I guess that's pretty good. But above all, man, I mean, Bird Gang, we're going to keep flying, you know what I'm saying? We're going to do this. We're trying to win the Super Bowl, so, but again, shout out to everybody that follows my Eagles page on Instagram, we_bleed_green. The I Bleed Eagles Green Facebook page, Twitter page is We Bleed Green 84. And that's just how we do it, man. We 5-1. Bird Gang, stand up. Love y'all. Peace.